Hey everybody, welcome back once again to On the Couch with David and Travis.
This is episode number 10, Magma Diver.
Mm-hmm.
Now before we get into it, I do have a little preamble because I've been editing these episodes and I've been seeing some things. Two things I got to address. Number one, I got to stop. I'm getting a little repetitive, a little redundant. I realize every single episode I'm like, oh, this is kind of boring, but it gets better. Something like that. I'm gonna let that drop for a little bit of, by virtue of the sake of variety.
To save your ears from hearing it again.
We'll talk about it getting different when it actually gets different. Number two, David likes to make little faces, I'm noticing, when I talk. He does little Jim Halpert looks. I don't know what we're going to do to fix that, but I just want to let you know I'm upset about it. So yeah, let's get into the episode, Magma Diver. Now, from as far as I'm concerned, I guess the few people I've talked to about this show and what I've seen from it online, this is pretty widely considered to be the weakest episode of the show.
I think for me, it was, like, this arc of it did not make much sense. Like, it was very much like, meh, and then, like, a little bit of action, and then a weird final scene. And like, none of it really, I think, flowed well together.
No.
Was my biggest complaint about it.
I don't think it's my least favorite episode. I think the ones towards the beginning with the bullying thing is still my least favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really like this one, and I have quite a few reasons, and not all of them are narratively related. I think the biggest thing I noticed, it seems like particularly this episode, and I guess it's because there's less action, and they like to put a lot of money into the action, it just, the animation stood out to me as exceptionally weak in this episode. There's a lot of reused shots, which we've seen before, but this is sort of, gratuitous, that shot of, like, pen flapping. I know we've seen that before, and they used it twice in this episode, and they used it for, like, 8 seconds towards the beginning.
Yeah.
Let me think. There's other things, like, when Ray was swimming, it was just a completely static image going on in the water. That looked silly. There was a part where Masato looked really jerky. Again, I should be a little bit more specific, but I just think overall it's a really weak episode in the animation department. I also noticed in the beginning just more technical things. I thought the audio mixing was terrible in that opening scene with Asuka and Kaji. There's some song playing in the background, and it's like significantly louder than them talking, and I could barely hear it. I mean, we had the captions on, so we have some idea what they're saying, but it's just really poor audio mixing.
Yeah,
I don't think it was intentional.
And there was a lot of static images in the beginning as well.
No, there's a lot of completely static images, which is, again, I get that they had budgetary issues, but it really shows, because I guess it's not really budgetary issues. They chose, we're going to put all our money into things like the watercolor backgrounds, the machinery animation, the violence, the fighting. But when you have an episode that's really low on the action, it particularly stands out. Yeah,
agreed. I feel like there just wasn't a lot that happened overall. Like, nothing really important happened. And I felt like there was really no progression in the overall story. Like, they talked about the second impact, and then at the end, we're like, Asuka's like, you know what happened to me during this, like, with the second impact, you know my history. And then Misato's like, yep.
Yeah, I really wanted to talk about that scene because I think it's like one of the most missed potential scenes in the entire series. Because you kind of have, I mean, it's a very nice setting. It's kind of like that sunset. We're sitting there and she sees Misato's scar she has on her chest. And I feel like that would have been a real opportunity to get some good character, some good drama. But yeah, it's what David synopsized as the scene is literally the scene. It's about 3 words exchanged between them, and it has no impact on you at all. Second impact, do you get it? It has no impact on you at all, and I feel like that could have been a really nice moment where I could have been like, well, I know that episode was weaker, but at least they had that nice moment at the end. But it wasn't nice. It was a setup, but it didn't really go anywhere.
And it didn't, like, with the setup, you at least have to have some intrigue with it, and there was nothing in that scene that made it seem like it was important. Like, we know it's going to be important, but there's nothing in the show itself that, like, makes it important. She's just like, you know my history. And that's literally the line, and, like, that's not a way you effectively set up somebody wanting to know more about
This is like a fortune teller episode, but without the laughably bad comedy. It was just kind of a boring episode to watch because what did happen was, like, any exciting things were sort of contained to about 1 or 2 minutes, and even then, again, it's very unsuspenseful because and they push this thermal expansion thing, which is a very Saturday morning cartoon thing to do. Oh, we bring up a problem at the beginning, and that's the solution at the end when we fight the monster. And I don't think this show does this again at any point. So it's just.
I think it did the 3rd episode though, with his classmates. or maybe I don't know. There's just some problems with like really heavy foreshadowing of like, oh, that's
it's
totally
not
gonna come back
subtle.
again.
It's not subtle at all.
Yeah.
And all of those scenes in the beginning, with Asuka and Shinji sort of talking about thermal expansion, I don't really know what they tell us about her as a character besides, you know. And that was another problem I think a lot of people have with this episode is they find Asuka's character to be annoying. I don't find it to be annoying, I just find it to be kind of boring.
Yeah, it's just, I've seen it before.
And I don't really understand the significance. I didn't realize that she graduated from college. What's the point of having that be a thing? Because she never...
Well, in Germany, they go to college earlier, but like...
She's 14, though. There's no way...
Oh.
Yeah. They're all... Shinji Ray and Masato are supposed... Or Shinji Ray and Asuka are supposed to be 14 or 13, I think.
I don't know, maybe it's just to show that she's smart?
But, like, her being smart is never something that's really relevant as far as I know.
I feel like they were just filling time.
It was just... It was just really weak scenes. This show is not good with comedy. It's at no point its strong point. So when it does slice of life stuff, it's just very unengaging to watch.
Yeah, I think overall I was just like a meh. Like I'm not interested in watching it again. You don't really need to watch it. There's nothing big that happens. Like we find out that we see the angel like, and it's kind of like in a fetus. Not even a fetus. It's like a.
Well, it is like an egg, I guess, and then it like hatches.
Yeah. It's like a fetus egg, like. And then it hatches, and then it becomes an angel. So, like, we learned that, I guess. But besides that, there's nothing.
I got a few things. I got a few more bad things, and I got a couple good things.
Oh wow!
I don't like. I wrote a whole page for this episode. I don't like the music in this episode. I felt like, I don't know. This may sound weird, but I felt like it sounded very like ship music, like nautical. And I thought maybe that was supposed to point like the scuba diving aspect of it. I thought it was distracting and really generic music. I had one other thing. Okay, well, never mind. I'm just going to get to the good stuff that I enjoyed. What I did like about the scene in the volcano with the angel is I do like what they do there where they never give you a good look of it. It's always kind of hidden in color, hidden in shadow.
Yeah.
And it's obscured. You kind of see it's got like gnarly teeth that it latches on her face.
Yeah.
And that's like a classic, that's like a Jaws thing, you know, the less you see of the monster, the scarier it is.
And it makes sense because in terms of just like how Asuka's encountering it, she doesn't see it very well. So like we're reflecting that we aren't able to see it very well.
So I did like that. I did like sort of like a small character thing. You're sort of seeing, and it's not really pushed that far, but the fact that Masato is not afraid to push limits. She's saying keep going deeper, and they're like, oh, Asuka's in danger. And we know Asuka's like, I'm okay with it, it's fine, because she wants to be the best pilot. But Masato being the adult and pretty much guardian of these children, I would think, you know, maybe you should be a little bit more cautious about it. But I just thought it was small, you know, she's not afraid to push the limits to get what she wants, for better or for worse. I thought the sauna scene was kind of weird.
It just seemed like a weird addendum to the rest of the story. Like,
just the dialogue was really stilted. It was like
it just didn't make sense.
He throws the shampoo and she's like, you hit my most private part. It's like, what the heck? It's just a weird...
not something anybody would say.
No, it's just a really weird line.
Like you could tell it was translated very strangely.
No, but we have the translation up there, and that was the literal... I guess maybe that's
the problem. There's a literal translation.
But you think, okay, maybe they should localize it a little bit. Then what are they going to say? You hit me in the crotch? It's like, that's weird. I don't know. It's just...
Why couldn't you just be like, ow? You hit me.
Well, because it's supposed to be that punchline, like the thermal expansion thing.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's not particularly funny.
It's just weird to have at the end, like not because of because of the context of it, but just because like it doesn't make much sense with.
I think it would have worked well if we had this goofy, stupid scene and then this more deeper, darker, more introspective one. But they teased that and they didn't give it to us.
So nothing happened.
So yeah, I agree with people. This is a pretty panned episode. I'm not in love with it. I don't like it at all, really. But it's not my least favorite. I didn't hate it, I guess. You know, I wasn't frustrated with what I was watching.
I was just ready for it to be done. I'm just like, let's go.
And it's weird because it does feel like, I mean, it's kind of boring, but it does feel like it goes by pretty fast. I think that's just because these are really short episodes.
Yeah.
But
I'm ready for the next one. I'm ready to go and to get
it's episode 10.
the halfway point.
Yeah, we're getting closer to the sort of halfway point.
And I'm excited for that.
That's Magma Diver. See you next time. Again, we don't have the episodes up, so we don't know what the next one's going to be, so...